Hi everyone, I hope you're doing great out there. Today we will talk about Mars retrograde in the sign of Leo. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Astrid. I'm a Western astrologer. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And thank you so much for joining. Before I dive deeper into the Mars retrograde, I do want to point out that you can book in a session, a personal astrology session for next year. And if you do that by the end of the year, you will save up to 50 euros because by the end of December, I will increase my prices. So, Mars retrograde. Mars is the god of war. It is the ruler of Aries and the traditional ruler of Scorpio. And Mars is actually the planet of energy, action, desire. It's like our survival instinct. So think about the warrior energy. And Mars like also rules our aggression, our anger, our survival, and our sexual desires as well. So Mars is like the basic body attraction type of energy, and Mars has the color red. So it's like connected to our lower chakras. It's like connected to the root chakra. And Mars belongs to Aries, so very, very impulsive. There's like zero contemplation before action, and it's like a very, very primal energy. It is like the energy that like pushes us out of bed in the morning, and it's like our active energy. And when we are acting out on our Mars, we are like assertive, very direct, very straightforward, and a bit of adventurous as well. But on the negative side, Mars can be too impulsive, can be rash, can be impatient, aggressive, and a bit forceful as well. So, when we talk about Mars retrograde in the sign of Leo, we think about, of course, Aries because it's the ruler of Mars, and Leo because it's happening in the sign of Leo. And Mars and Leo are most connected to our sovereignty and our inner authority. So this is like really emphasized right now. And Leo is the sign that rules over leadership, like kings and queens, royalty, and our world leaders. Leo also rules children, romance, creativity, attraction, fun, being on stage, expressing yourself in an authentic way. These are all parts of Leo. And hello, Star Girl Music. So glad you're here with us tonight. Thank you so much for joining. And the themes of Mars, like this retrograde, it is already like palpable because on October the 4th, Mars entered its retrograde pre-shadow zone. So if something happened around that date or something happened after that, you can like almost be completely sure that this will be like the ongoing theme for the next couple of weeks and even months. Because on December the 6th, Mars goes retrograde, and on February the 23rd, Mars goes direct again. But it's only on May 2nd that Mars will then go out of its post retrograde zone. So a lot of people think that this retrograde will only take like 2 months and a half, but actually it's going to take us up to 6 or almost 7 months. And Mars is going to go retrograde at the 6th degree of Virgo. And Virgo is related to critical thinking, to our health and well being, our job duties, and our daily routine. So, whatever happens with this Mars retrograde can like impact all of these themes that I just mentioned. And the most influenced signs are going to be, of course, Aries and Scorpio, because this is like your chart ruler. And from more January on, when Mars is going to jump back into the sign of Cancer, a lot of Cancers will, of course, be impacted, but also Libras and Capricorn. Other people who are going to be influenced by this Mars retrograde are going to be people who have their natal Mars in the first sign of first degrees of Leo, and also, of course, people who have their natal Mars in Cancer. These will be very, very influenced due to this Mars retrograde. But as I just mentioned, like the energy is already like palpable since early October, and if like a conflict started around that time, it's gonna like play out over this next couple of weeks. And a Mars retrograde is like a time of thinking before acting, trying to tone down a bit of the impatientness that Mars brings forward. And fated events and repeating themes need like more background work before being acted upon. So it means like we need to take extra time to like take stock and ensure everything is in order before we continue. And fated events may occur that could be very painful but are needed, so you like back off and don't make a significant mistake in the future. So if things don't go according to plan and maybe something hurts you, just know it's maybe the universe's way of preventing any further mistakes. So try to be grateful if that happens. And especially when it dips back into Cancer in the beginning of January, it's going to stir up some massive passive aggressive conflicts in people. We're going to have to deal with some inflamed emotions and some old wounds popping back up. But the positive side is that it's like a very, very powerful time to like revisit in which way you like direct your energy and your motivation. It can feel like an unstoppable force, and it's important to only take action on what like truly matters right now, because Mars retro will teach you how to assert yourself in a more healthier way. And if you have been dealing with like some underlying issues or some repressed anger, and you're like holding on to some lingering conflicts, expect these to like fully rise during this time. And unresolved issues need like your attention, and we might need to deal with some passive aggressive tendencies from within ourselves, but also from other people. So this time it is not the best time to start new big projects that need a lot of your energy, because when Mars slows down, we need to like revisit what's no longer working. It's like a time to figure out how we can implement more fun into our lives, because it's going retrograde into the sign of Leo, which rules fun. And I feel like a lot of people need to make more time to inject some fun back into their lives. I've been feeling stuck and tired because of our energy that is like slowing down. Try to back off a little bit, because instead of like charging full on as Mars is used to do, you can like really suffer from a burnout right now. So take time to take stock, to figure out what has been burning you out, and try to replace that with more fun and more activities that really make your heart sing, because Leo rules our hearts. And Mars is like a very fighting energy. So if you will fight this type of energy, you will definitely lose, and it will teach you some very harsh lessons along the way. So be a little bit mindful because of that. And this energy is like very wild and out of control. And with like that's definitely going to be the theme when Mars and Pluto are going to make their other opposition again by January 3rd. And that is a time when things could feel a bit stormy and could feel a bit intense, to be honest. And no matter how evolved, how spiritual, or how friendly you are already, we will all feel like this intense hit of this Mars and Mercury retrograde. So like brace yourself, because things can spiral a bit out of control. But remember, it is like putting an emphasis on things that need to be relooked and reworked at. So from now until May, we will feel its influence. And Mars is like a malefic planet. So review about how you handle conflicts, and like what's your motivation, and like how passionate are you, or what are you passionate about, and like ask yourself, why am I taking action, and maybe why am I getting dragged into certain conflicts, and look at like your motivation to act and your motivation of why you are engaging in a conflict or get dragged into a conflict. It's like reassessing about what drives us and what makes us feel ambitious. And with Mars retro, it can feel like you've lost a bit of your spark, or you lost a bit of your passion or ambition. That's like very yeah, it can happen during this time that you feel like you lose energy, or you feel tired or burned out. And like, don't worry, because Mars is slowing you down and it's asking you to like look at the past and like look at things from the past that you were motivated about. Maybe this gets like reignited during this retrograde phase, so it can actually be a very big gift in disguise. Just be like a little bit mindful about internalized anger can come like fully out, and it can be expressed in like a toxic or maybe an unpleasant way, and that will be a big moment where you can like reevaluate what makes you angry, and to also draw up some important boundaries. Because yeah, I think the way our anger gets expressed, it is like being looked at as unpleasant, but it has a lot to do with how we were brought up into society. We were like never taught how to express or how to direct our anger in a healthy way. We were always taught as a kid to like act kind, hide your anger, and if you unleash it or show it, it is being looked at as inappropriate. And authority figures really teach us to suppress our anger. And I actually disagree a bit with that, because we need to show our anger, but first we need to like regulate how to do that. We need to learn how to draw some lines and put up some boundaries, and that can actually be done in a very loving and healthy way. We actually need anger, and yeah, if we learn ourselves to suppress our anger, it starts to fester and it gets turned into rage and hate. So because we can't regulate it, it turns into violence later on. So every time we teach ourselves that we can be angry, it gets suppressed, and like a big buildup starts to accumulate in our nervous system until it like spirals out of control and it becomes vicious. So this Mars retrograde is like a big reassessment, and we need to like learn how to deal with our anger and like use it in a proactive way to let people know if they're doing something wrong. Because if we don't tell people when they cross certain boundaries, we unconsciously tell them that it's okay to like walk all over us. And by doing that, we like totally neglect our self-worth. So it's actually okay to be angry. Anger doesn't have to lead to violence. Only the weak turn to violence, and the strong put up a boundary. And the best way to do that is to act on your impulses. That's why we have Mars in our chart. And it's important to act on our impulses whenever someone crosses us, because we all wait way too long until that anger starts to like eat us up inside. And then it becomes a very destructive force. And as an Aries myself, I'm very direct and straightforward. And I think all the Aries will be handling this tension much better than other signs, because they like already embody this warrior spirit. Just be mindful and be sure that it's like a healthy warrior spirit. Otherwise, it can blow out of proportion. So, and actually, yeah, I think you already noticed that a little bit, but like my face is a big open book, and people will always immediately know whenever I'm angry. And I actually think that's a good thing. We do not need to hide ourselves, and people need to speak up whenever they feel mad. And anger is a very good thing when it's expressed in a very healthy way. It wants to like change things for the better. And it's also very necessary to protect ourselves. So, but also be very mindful, because anger can also misguide you. And if you have some unhealed, stored up trauma, anger can be like a really big response to an underlying issue. And some people might trigger that without them even wanting that to do. So that can definitely happen around the 3rd of January, when we have the second intense Pluto Mars opposition. So if you feel some anger building up, ask yourself, why is it? Are there some underlying issues? Is it connected to some unhealed trauma? Is it because I don't feel hurt? Is it because I'm yeah, being picked at? It's like there are very, very big nuances in all of that. And very good and mindful to look at yourself and ask yourself, how can I properly direct my anger so I don't make things worse? But like, yeah, use it as something to correct it. Like, use your anger to correct something, rather than use it as a destructive force. So, hi Kriya Design, and hi Jana, so glad you're here. And Miss Nini says natal Mars in Leo at 19 degrees, well aspected. Well, Miss Nini, you're lucky, because Mars goes retrograde at the 6th degree. So even though it's in the same sign as your natal Mars, which will impact you, of course, it is still a long way from your from a conjunction to your natal Mars, and you will feel a big change in you how you assert yourself, and how you express yourself, and how and the way how you use your anger. And you will probably feel a lot more impact in April or and May, whenever Mars goes back into Leo, and I think that will be around May, June, somewhere like something like that. And Stargirl Music says, I rarely hold my anger back. I have Mars conjunct rising at 5 degrees of Gemini. Yeah, okay. You are one of the people that the Mars is on the rising. So it's very out there. People immediately notice it. And in the sign of Gemini, you will communicate about that in a very direct way. So, um, and it is true, create design in it makes you sick if you hold it back for a long time. It is true. It like starts to give you a headache, because Mars belongs to Aries, and Aries rules the head. So if you keep it inside, you start to have headaches, and muscles are tense, because muscles are ruled by Aries as well. So it's very, very bad for the body to store up anger. And Miss Nini says, thanks, I still have Saturn square Jupiter. So you have a natal Saturn square Jupiter, because the whole collective is dealing with a Saturn square Jupiter right now. And that aspect will perfect on the 24th of December this year. So that will be very, very impactful for you, Miss Nini. So we're going to look at Mars from a health perspective. Well, we're already at that right now. So Mars governs our physical vitality and our assertiveness. So it's very, very relevant for like surgical procedures and for recovery, because Mars rules anything sharp, like knives, needles, everything that cuts. And when Mars goes retrograde, it is not the best time to do any surgery. And if it's possible, you can like postpone that, because if you do it now, it might take a little bit longer to heal, because Mars is about quickness. It's very fast. And when it's going forward, it can heal fast. When it goes backward and it slows down, it takes longer to heal. So try not to operate actually, yeah, the whole entire retrograde, but definitely not around the 6th, the 3rd, the 6th. Not a good date for surgery in any way. So Mars rules your arteries, your red blood cells, your veins, your muscles. It's about cutting, bruising, burns. So be a little bit more careful about burning, because if you store up the hot burnt energy, it has to come out in some kind of way. And that can be about like cutting your finger when you're cooking, or burning on the stove, some kind of things. So if that does happen to you, just know it's like a sign of the universe, that there is some stored up anger or some underlying energy that is building. So try to find a physical outlet to get rid of it. And because Mars also rules like sharp objects, be more careful when you're using them, or if you're using any type of machinery as well. And the sign of Leo rules our heart, of course, and our spine, our upper back, and our shoulders. So we can feel a bit more tense in that. And I have to say, I do feel that a bit already. One of the other important themes that's going to play out is that there can be more issues popping up related to needles and the heart. So I think our heart health will be a major topic in the upcoming months. Think about open heart surgery and blood pressure. It's all connected to Mars and to Leo. And also about our heart health for children, because Leo rules the sign of children. Um, by that, like, I think it will also bring like new awareness about fertility, especially in men. More news coming out about how medical procedures impacted our heart health and fertility in men. So important to channel the frustration from Mars into something productive, so you don't get worked up and don't suffer from your heart during this time. And if you do need to get surgery, be extra careful for inflammation as well, because Mars is a fire planet and it rules over everything that gets like inflamed. So Mars is like the first spark that sets things on fire. That's why you need to be like extra careful for inflammation during this time. And of course, if you're a Leo sun, and especially if you're a Leo rising, you are more accident prone during these times. So be careful. You can also suffer more from back pain. You need to be extra careful with Mars, not to get bruised or cut yourself or burns, especially for the Leo risings, because Leo rising is about your body, your physical appearance. So and because Mars goes retrograde at the Virgo degree, which rules our health and our well-being, issues related to that can cause stress in our daily routine right now, because Virgo also rules our daily routines, the sixth house. So, and let's not forget that we're also dealing with the Mercury retrograde right now. So that's a time when people get sick more often, because Mercury rules our immune system. When it goes retrograde, it goes back, our immune system goes down a bit. So take extra good care of yourself during these times. So if we then look at Mars retrograde on a personal level, so first, it goes back in Leo, and then it will jump into Cancer on the 6th of January. I will make a whole other video about Mars retro in Cancer, because then some different themes will start to pop up. Cancer rules our home, our emotions, our nurturing feelings, the mother, safety, protection. And then we will be more reactive, and we will get more easily triggered to fight for what like is emotionally important to us, or what we are emotionally attached to. But when it's now first starts to happen in the sign of Leo, rules over children, love, romance, and being in the spotlight on stage. But Leo is also connected to drama, because Leo is ruled by the sun, and the sun is our ego. So it's like a reassessment of how we express our ego, and how we have been like reacting in those areas, and like really looking inside of ourselves, if we acted out in an egotistical way, or in something that benefits only our own ego. And then we will switch from Leo to Cancer, so from our ego to our emotions. It's like from seeking validation and being on stage to valuing emotional connection in the sign of Cancer. It's like going from being public to going private, from masculine Leo to feminine Cancer. So Leo retro is like retreat from the spotlight, focus more on our home lives, on our domestic scene and how everything is going or working out there. And it's like a reevaluation of our inner authority and the validation that we need from others. A big shift will take place in that. And Mars will be in Leo until the 6th of January. And Mars will be back in Leo on April 17th, I guess, in middle of April somewhere. And with Leo, we can like express ourselves a bit too dramatic or a bit too boldly. That's like getting reassessed or reviewed right now. Be very smart in handling conflicts. Definitely don't go out and engage or start any conflict, because we might need a long time to really fix them right now, maybe up until the month of April. So yeah, be honest. If you fight now, it might like not turn out how you want it to be. So pick your battles very carefully, and definitely not the best time to start making enemies. And very important not to be the instigator of unnecessary conflicts, because they might come back to bite you in the. The positive news is that like things you loved from the past can like really come back now. Things that you were like creatively inspired by can like pop up again and be like reignited and like further examined. So it can be about some lover from the past. It can be about the hobby or a creative project from the past. And it's like reconnecting with the creative energy from the past. So Leo is actually fun. It is a fun sign. I really love my dear Leos. And I think Mars in Leo now retrograde will be easier to handle than Mars in Cancer that's going to start in January. I think that will be less fun, because that's pointing out to very passive aggressive energy coming back up into our lives, maybe a passive aggressive energy from the past, because Mars has been spending a lot of time in the sign of Cancer, unusually long time. So I think you already feel or know what I'm talking about. And in Leo, it's more about turning inward, about do we want drama, do we want angry, do we want to be angry. So these next couple of months will also really show you who is like willing to fight for you, or like who will fight alongside you. That will be a very important theme. I think a lot of masks will drop, and people who don't have your best interest at heart will be exposed. And that can be people that you're very emotionally attached to, the sign of Cancer, people you feel at home with. So, but the universe is like showing you now where you need to adapt, where you need to change strategy in order for you to like get rid of underlying tension that was there already before the retrograde happened. So underlying tension or like an unhealthy dynamic just hold you back energetically, and there's like a big possibility that this Mars retrograde will like wipe out that energy or try to like reassess or like change something in regards to that. So actually you need to be grateful if some people act a bit out of character. Just like give them time, give them space. Don't fuel or don't feed any conflict. Try to be very understanding, and now you like all know why this is happening. So hi Laura. Okay, now we'll look at Mars retro at a more mundane level. So as a collective, we will all need to be way more careful about fires in our home. Keep an eye on your kids if you have any when they're like near something that's hot. like a stove or maybe something in the kitchen or like anywhere where they can get burned. Also watch for kitchen fires. One of the other themes is going to be like unusual heat waves. Like here in Belgium, I think it was a week ago or a week and a half ago, suddenly it was 17 degrees, which is like very unusual for this time of year. And I think this will be like a very common theme along our Earth. So yeah, I think this winter will be warmer than usual, but I think maybe we'll see big increases and big drops, like unusual differences in temperature. Also, we're going to have some big accidents. If you look back at the history of other Mars retrogrades, that also points out to like a big accident where a lot of people are part of, unfortunately. I think also a big war reassessment, because when Mars goes forward, it's like very boldly attacking each other and like wanting to be the first and the best and dominate and win and compete. But like now it's like going from very boldly attacking each other to more in turning inwards and like putting more emphasis on like protecting and defending our territory, the sign of Cancer. So maybe this is like exactly what we need right now, a Mars retro, and I really hope this will like point out towards de-escalation of what's going on now. And Leo also rules the markets as a general, like the stock markets, like gambling, speculative investments as well. And there can be like a theme of risky behavior with money on like a global scale. Or like some world leaders are going to be like a bit overly confident with money, and some mistakes will need to be corrected in that as well. And whenever Mars goes back to Cancer, I think burglary and home intrusions and having to guard your home more than during other times will also pop up and as a theme. Because now there's like also some things going on with ownership of your home title, and some massive scam in the US that they can like steal your home title. So that's something to be more mindful of, but I will like talk more about that in my Mars retro and Cancer video. But like another big theme will be like something gets changed or gets reviewed about our housing market. I think we will see a correction of the prices. Because if you look back at the previous Mars retro and Cancer, that was like in 2007 in the fall until 2008, we saw a very big mortgage crisis and a lot of financial institutions collapsing and markets all over the world. There were like failure of banks, but I do want to point out that around that time we had Pluto going into Capricorn, which was like also a very big instigator because of that. So people lost their homes, lost their jobs due to the financial crisis. I think now with Pluto shifting into Aquarius, people will lose their jobs due to AI. And I think that's already been happening and it has been playing out over the last few years. But I think now this will be a very, very big theme popping up under this Mars retro in Cancer. Another thing that we had with like previous Mars retrograde in Leo was a very big earthquake. There was something about Dubai being in a debt and like a world debt standstill and all these themes. So I think we can have some reoccurrences seeing play out over the next couple of weeks. But I will like go deeper in that when I do my Mars in Cancer video. But I think the most important thing is that we have to like, we will circle a bit with destructive behavior from others, things like anger being expressed in like an unpleasant way of others, and being very mindful and understanding about that. And yeah, some fated events will like they will force you to admit that some might need some anger management issues, and I hope this will not be for you. But if you do see that playing around you, just know that it's the energy from the Mars retro that they're having like a difficulty in handling right now. And whenever Mars goes direct, we should have like come to terms more with the issues revolving around that. So on the 24th of February, Mars goes direct. Then there's like this contemplation stage will be over, and yeah, we are ready to like come out of our shell, Cancer. So we can then like confidently assert ourselves more, act on our desires in a more healthy way. So yeah, that's like yeah, very good news, because I think we all need, because I think our inner war is like being projected into the world right now. So maybe if we all internalize and look at our own anger and how that affects the people around us, maybe that will create like a beautiful ripple effect into society as well. So yeah, we will now look at the chart of Mars retro. So here we can see it. It's at the 6th, actually the 7th degree, if you count 0, but it's going back at degree 6. So we will see like a very, very big team around world leaders, kings and queens, and it's gonna have to do with children, the sign of Leo, and I think also about abuse of children, the sign of Leo. So we just know that Joe Biden pardoned his son, Hunter, so I think that will need to be reviewed as well. And I think this is one of the big themes of this Mars retro, that all abuse of children will be greatly scrutinized over the next few months, and I think that's very, very necessary. And yeah, around the 12th, we will have Venus opposite Mars, and that will be like a time when we need to look at the financial market a bit more closely, because that can have like a bit of a destabilizing energy revolving around that. But also watch out around for revelations around P. Diddy, certain celebrities, people in fame. That's also part of Leo. We will see another development in that around the 12th. Then it will come back up for another review around January the 2nd or the 3rd. Because around the 2nd and the 3rd of January, we'll have another Pluto-Mars opposition. So yeah, Leo is about everyone famous. Opposition to Pluto is like how they handle their power and how they misuse their power. There will be big exposure of that kind of power. And Leo, that rules over the children, Mars, fighting for our children. Pluto is abuse. So Leo is famous, it's Hollywood, it's sports stars, it's actors, musicians. Yeah, they will like all be very much exposed. They will need to be reviewed, and they will be held accountable for their actions during the Mars retro in the sign of children. So hi, Claudia. So happy you're here with us tonight. Thank you so much for joining. So yeah, the Pluto-Mars opposition, it is like we can use it as either manipulation or we can use it as empowerment. So unfortunately, people who are not well developed or not so evolutionary evolved, they will certainly use it as manipulation. For people who do have been working a lot on themselves, this can be like a very, very big empowerment team or an empowerment period for you. But because there are a lot of uninvolved people, especially if you look at what's happening in the world right now, the Pluto-Mars opposition can like really, really enhance jealousy, revenge, and also passion. It like all gets magnified again. And it's something that we already saw happening in the beginning of November. So we'll get like a second hit of that. And some will feel empowered if you use it in a very conscious way, because some power may come back from the past. Mars going retrograde, past powers reignited. but others will feel like they lose power and they can like really lash out under this aspect, because if you didn't use it in a smart way, Pluto is going to say, I'm going to take it away from you. So intense emotions ranging from like obsession to compulsion. There's like big extremes, extreme polarity, and a very all-consuming energy that will be played out during this Mars retrograde. And people will feel like they will do anything at any cost to get what they want. So that is something to be mindful about, because some will go towards covert tactics, manipulation, hidden motivations will like motivate them, and there can be some dark hidden energy revolving around that. But yeah, if people now use this in a bad, dark way, they will be very much forced to look at their shadow side. So can be a bit of a crisis energy around the 3rd of January, and hidden energy coming to light, needing to be transformed. So some restrictors or hidden agendas from world leaders, sign of Leo, will also be exposed. And some people will feel like they will need to take revenge on that, because that's not what they maybe voted for. And I don't want to point out any party. I'm just like saying this in a general meaning or a general sense. Because like the 1st, 2nd, and the 3rd of January will be a little bit intense, will be a little bit extreme. And on one of those days, the moon will also be on Pluto, enhancing this power and enhancing the revolt power in the people, in the collective. So very intense energy on New Year's Eve. Be a bit careful with alcohol, because Mars will then jump into Cancer, and Cancer are liquids, and Mars is hot, burnt energy. So alcohol is hot, inflamed, liquid. Cancer, combine those two, you're going to set yourself up for a war. So dial it down a bit with the alcohol during the holidays. And like embrace all the positive things of Leo, like dancing, be active, have fun, play instruments, but be careful if you mix alcohol into that. Hey, E. Hartley, I made it to another live. I just have to wait and start again so I can see. I'd like to play back. Yes, okay, you have all the time to fully dive deep into that. And thank you so much for joining. So another big theme or another relevant issue is like Mars is like the ruler of Mars is like the sun. And we see here in the chart that the sun is conjunct Mercury. So Mercury is currently retrograde, reassessing, rethinking, correcting past mistakes, connected to agreements, contracts, negotiations, like renegotiation a lot. And it's trining Mars, and Mars is like re-looking, reassessing war. So I interpret this as like a very big this Mercury retrograde is like doing me a head in, but like a big renegotiations about reassessment of war. Yes, that's it. So we have like a Mercury Cazimi around the same day. So that's like very important. Sun is our leaders. Mars is about war in the sign of Leo, also leaders. So I think there will be like a very big announcement of our global world leaders, because it's like in the sign of Sagittarius, going over global, like foreign countries, the whole world is impacted, and it's going to be opposite Jupiter, and Jupiter enlarges everything. So there can be like very big news coming out during actually the next few weeks, because this big news theme gets like amplified from the 6th of December until the 6th of January. So we're going to have a whole month of an overload of information, In the middle of that month, on the 15th, we will have like a full moon in the sign of Gemini, the sign of communication, and Jupiter is found there. Jupiter enlarges everything, so very, very big news is going to come out over the next few weeks. And yeah, Mercury is like agreement contracts, so hopefully it's about like a peace treaty. I'm like crossing my fingers on that one. But hopefully some very, very important conversations are going to take place that will lead to like a de-escalation of the war. That is like how I interpret this. So but with the Sun squaring Saturn, it's going to be challenging, it's going to be karmic, it's going to be about past actions and having to correct mistakes in that. Saturn is the lord of karma, so Saturn here is asking to like add more structure and a more grounded, realistic approach. But yeah, it will come with a challenge, but I do have confidence in that there's going to be some positive manifestation coming forth from this. So I'm quickly going to look at Donald Trump's chart because it is actually important for him. Because we see here that Donald actually has a natal Mars in Leo. So yeah, he's going to have like he's going to have big influence from this Mars retrograde. And as I just said, if you use it wisely, whenever Mars goes retrograde, there's like a returning of power. And it's like in his 12th house. 12th house is very private, it's behind the scenes. So actually I interpret this as like regaining lost power behind the scenes. And the funny thing is that Leo rules kings and queens. Whenever we have a Mars retrograde in the sign of Leo, it is like a return of the king or a return of past leader. And I think it's very, very special that Trump has a natal Mars in Leo, and now he's like returning as a past or a previous president. So astrology is sometimes really, always spot on, but sometimes it like still really surprises me. And yeah, we had like the first Mars-Pluto opposition during the elections. So now on the 3rd of January, the 3rd and the 6th of January, it will be about reassessment of power and leadership. And yeah, Trump has a Leo rising and a Mars in Leo. The coincidence is just like unreal. So yeah. RFK also has a Leo rising, so he's coming back in the picture again. And Leo also rules like the entertainment industry, so he will like also bring a lot of people from the entertainment world into his rulership. So yeah, there's like a big review about how they will all lead together. And Mars retro and in the 12th, yeah, regaining lost power behind the scenes. He does have like his Pluto also in the 10th house. It almost went over that, and Pluto in the 12th is like an incredible force behind the scenes. So yes, it's very, very special. Special what happens now for Trump. And if we look closely, then his Mars will go back into the 11th house. So it's like a very big review of conflict or a review of power connected to big groups of people and to his network. And Mars rules his 9th house of Aries. And the 9th house is actually about foreign affairs. So I think it's it's looking good. I have like a good feeling about this. And the Mars Cazimi takes place in Trump's his 4th house. 4th house is very, very patriotic. It's about where you live, where you are your domestic changes, reviews about where you live. His moon is there, very emotional, attached to his country. So this important Sun Mercury Cazimi is taking place in that house, close by his moon. So yeah, conversations from the past get illuminated about his place of residence, 4th house, his homeland. and he's gonna be very, very emotionally attached to what happens now. But do not forget, Uranus is still on his MC on top of the chart. I don't know if you can see it. I didn't circle it, but Mars on the MC squared to his Mars. It's still his chart gets still infused with a lot of volatile energy. Uranus are shocks, so yeah, it will like re-enter his 10th house next year. So yeah, more surprises for him are definitely in store. So let's look at the US Sibley chart, because Mars will go retrograde in 8th house for America. Over the North Node. North Node is your path forward. It is like your life destiny. It's your assignment in life or assignment as a country. So it's in the sign of rulership. It's in the sign of the 8th. It's in the house of the 8th. 8th house is like your shared resources, your taxes. It's like tariffs, debts, investments. So big reviewing in that. That's already very obvious, of course. But if we look at it from a whole sign perspective, and that is like the way how I look at each of the 12 signs, it is like per each sign that I then look and interpret it. And if you look at it from a whole sign perspective, it's actually in the 9th house. And the 9th house is again foreign affairs. So I think it's funny how in Trump's chart, Mars rules his 9th house of foreign affairs. And in the US Sibley chart, in a whole sign, Mars is retrograde into the 9th house of foreign affairs, reassessment, recorrections, regaining power, looking at solving conflicts. So it's actually happening at a very good place. But on the North Node, that like indicates war conflicts coming onto the path of the United States. But luckily, the US Sibley chart gets like way extra time to like review and like de-escalate under these circumstances. So that's actually positive. And then we also have like Mercury. I circled it in red as well, because Mercury retrograde is like oppositing Mars and Jupiter in the 7th house of assisting things to your allies. And it's like happening on the rising. It's a very, very important place because it's like out there for everyone to see. So like a very big renegotiation about assistance to allies and combat, Mars in the 7th. And Jupiter blew it all up. Maybe they will now realize that they've overdone it. And the Mercury Cazimi with the Sun, opposite Mars and Uranus, can be like very big sudden changes revolving around that, and a correction of like past agreements regarding to war. It can be sudden change with Uranus, and definitely we will hear about that around the 3rd of January, because the 6th of December can be a bit shaky or unstable for the US with the moon return squaring to Uranus. The US Sibley has like a natal moon in the sign of Aquarius. So very eccentric, very rebellious moon. The moon is the people. So yeah, around the day that Mars goes retrograde, you do have like a moon conjunct moon, which means that people will feel more emotionally toward to what's happening outside. And the last time we had displacement getting affected was with the full moon in Taurus. And then Joe Biden announced like the use of long range missiles, and like the moon is at the same degree and same place that day, and will receive a square from Uranus. So there can be like some unstableness revolving around that day for the States. But overall, the Mars retro looks good. It's happening at a good place, and I hope it will de-escalate. Then we can look at the chart for Russia. And for Russia, the 6th of December will be a very big day. because it's like 2 days before their solar return, so before their birthday. So they have like this big Mercury Cazimi, big news coming out on their natal sun, on their ego. So yeah, very, very important as well. So big renegotiations that will like last up an entire year. And Mars retro on the north node, and like look at that, Russia has the same north node of the US, and that is like very, very that stood out to me very much. So same team for Russia as for the US. It's like very, very big coincidence. So let's hope whenever Trump gets into office, he can de-escalate, because the same team here is appearing for Russia as well. To me, it doesn't look too promising for Russia, because yeah, Mars will square Venus and will square Jupiter as well. And whenever we have a square with Jupiter and the sign of war, Jupiter can enlarge things before they get better first. So and the square to Venus and Scorpio is like big money. Venus is about money. So the fact that we see a square from Mars retro to Venus in the chart of Russia is like the explanation and the reason why we see like the evaluation of the Russian ruble right now. And that will like be very severe around Christmas and the end of the year. It will be worse by then. And then Mars will cross over that point once again. So yes, everything regarding finances for Russia, it's not looking very good. What else do we see? We see a Saturn square to the Sun. So yeah, it's like about years of hard work are like up for review. It's about karma from the past, and there is a big challenge here with the Saturn square to the Sun, the ego of the country, the son of the leaders of the country, the Sun. And Jupiter blows everything out of proportion, because it's like in an exact opposition to their Sun, their ego, and their leadership. So their leadership gets immensely challenged right now, and that's like due to past karmic from Saturn playing out. And by that, I'm not saying who's right, who's wrong. I'm just like reading this in an astrological way. And Saturn is about karma. It is about the past. So yeah, something gets played out, and some karmic reckoning is happening right now. And yeah, we do have like this Saturn square Neptune for the whole collective right now. And it's like about our morals, it's about our beliefs, or about our ethique, moral compass, and like adding structure, Saturn, to our vision, Jupiter, making it more realistic. And I'm a little bit afraid of what I'm going to say now, but like Saturn, Jupiter also connected to like travel bans, because we had like the big conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn before the whole lockdown started. And like whenever two planets come together, a very big synodic cycle starts again. So cycles are like whenever two planets meet each other, they form a conjunction. Then they make a sextile, then they make a square, then they make an opposition, another square, another sextile. Oh, I'm forgetting the trine, but it's the Mercury retro in my mind. But there's like a lot of aspects going on before they then move towards another conjunction, and like a new cycle starts. So the cycle of Jupiter and Saturn started in 2020. Before 2020 somewhere. And yeah, we saw what happened then. So whenever whenever these two planets then touch each other again, there's like a big development of what happened at the beginning of the synodic cycle. And I'm a little bit worried for the whole collective, like by the end of the year, it's going to be again maybe revolving around some travel bans. I think we might see them coming fully into effect for Russia, especially by that time. But it's like also about rules, regulations, and also globally. It's a global team with Jupiter and Saturn and Pisces. Pisces doesn't know any boundaries. It doesn't has any boundaries, the sign of Pisces. And Saturn is about creating structure and creating boundaries. So the fact that these two are going to make a square is just like saying to me that some big development in regarding to travel bans will be coming up again by the end of the year. And it's also like about issues around morality, integrity, truth and justice. Jupiter rules the future, Saturn rules the past. So they're like squaring each other, and they're like, just battling each other right now. Very big seesaw energy between optimism and pessimism, and this will like definitely leave its mark on Russia. So I'm curious how it will play out for them by the end of the year. We can like take a look in Putin's chart, and I know in the astrological community there is some fuss about Putin's chart. A lot of people are saying it's not correct, the birth time is off, blah blah blah. Okay, I do take that in mind, but let's just look at what time we are given. So again, we see again a repetitive theme. Mars retrograde in the ninth house of foreign affairs as well for Putin. So reviewing war, Mars with foreign countries, ninth house, or nations. So if I look at this, I do have like a feeling that the birth time is correct, because it just like makes too much sense for me. And if we then look at it from a whole sign perspective, he has Mars retrograde in his 10th house of Leo. Leo is leadership. He has Pluto in there. Very powerful, dominant world leader, or that's the way he is seen by the outside world. 10th house, top of the chart. Mars retrograding there. It's like regaining his power, regaining a dominant position, or regaining his reputation in the world. And old conflicts that with authority are being played out as well. And it's gonna square his 7th house of open enemies. So to me, it just like makes way too much sense. And I do believe that this chart is correct, actually. And yeah, Mars retrograde for Putin, very important. He's a Scorpio rising, so very impacted. A lot of power struggles, especially for him around the beginning of January with the second Mars-Pluto opposition. Very big news revolving them will come out then. And I do think he will, of course, he's the most dominant military power, world power, and we look at the planet Jupiter. Jupiter is in his 8th house, and Jupiter is trining his sun, trining his Saturn, is going to trine his whole stellium in Libra. So actually, Putin is getting protection from Jupiter, the planet of protection and making everything bigger, expansion. So yeah, Jupiter, a lot of people forget that Jupiter is also a teacher. It's not only the great beneficer, but it's also a very teachable planet. But the lessons we get from Jupiter are way easier to integrate than the lessons we get from Saturn. Saturn is like the strict teacher. Jupiter is like the funny, optimistic, positive, lighthearted teacher. And he just gives his bountiful rewards. And the fact that it's trining his sun just says a lot to me. And I get some questions about, well, I covered the UK, and then yes, please cover the UK. In my next video about Mars retrograde in the sign of Cancer, I will include UK's chart, because I know you've been like in a battleground right now, and I'm wishing you a lot of love and a lot of willpower to go through the darker times right now. We can also take a quick look at Ukraine's chart. And what really, really stood out to me is that look at the first degrees of Leo. Like Ukraine has his Chiron, the wounded planet that hurts, needs a long time to heal. It has it at the first few degrees of Leo, and we just looked at the US and at Russia's chart. They have like their north node there. So Ukraine, Chiron is placed on the north node, on the path forward, on the life path, on whatever comes into your life path of the US and of Russia. And to me, when I saw that, that is like unreal to me, because it's so clear that like whatever happens in Ukraine hurts the US and hurts Russia. And we know that the people of Ukraine have nothing to do with it. It's about the world leaders. But again, it just like it says here. So, and what also really, really stood out to me when I watched this is that if you look at the moon is almost at the same degrees of the moon of the US Sibley chart. So the moon of America is the same moon of the moon of Ukraine. So it's so unreal that whatever astrologically happens to the people of Ukraine automatically impacts the people of the US. It is as simple as that. When you have almost the same exact moon placement, whenever a hit from a planet occurs, it is like intertwined with each other. So to me, that was like really, really baffling when I first saw that. So if you have watched my full moon in Taurus video, I was looking at the chart of the US and of Europe and of Belgium, and I noticed that there was going to be like a very, very big shock, because Uranus, the planet of shocks, is making a challenging aspect to Europe and the US, their moon. So yeah, I was saying like this will be like a very big shock for people of the US and people of Europe, and it's only now that I like noticed that Ukraine has almost the same moon, which is like very, very shocking and surprising to me. Uranus works in a very mysterious way. So yeah, they're very, very closely aligned. Whatever happens in Ukraine will also impact the states on an astrological level, or vice versa. And to me, this like very, very special. Yeah, it like really stood out to me. So I will definitely keep that in mind, and maybe I will like put some countries on top of each other and see how they impact each other. That's like also another way of looking at things. So yeah, when we had the full moon in Taurus, the full moon was conjunct Uranus, so also squaring the people of Ukraine, and squaring the moon, so the people of Ukraine. So the big shock announcement of Joe Biden giving his green light for the long-range missiles, of course, it also shocked people of Ukraine, and it's like the same moon placement. So yeah, I was so surprised when I saw this. So I'll keep an eye on that. Then we can like quickly. I didn't talk. Did I talk about the Mars retrograde for Ukraine? So yeah. So the Mars retrograde is currently happening on Chiron. So Chiron are wounds being hurt. So by war, Mars. People are like deserting massively right now. They're like losing big time, and it's also noticeable in the chart. That was what I also wanted to mention. So then we can look at Zelensky's chart, and Zelensky has a 0 degree natal moon in Leo. So if you look at his natal chart, Mars, the planet of war, aggression, violence, being too bold, makes an opposition to his sun, his ego, and his Venus, his love. So I hate to say it, but people who have their sun and a negative aspect to Mars, they are troublemakers. And I'm sorry if you are one of them, but Mars and bad aspect to the sun are people who are more easily to trigger conflict. It is just the way it is. So yeah, with Mars going retrograde over his natal Mars, this could like indicate big reassessment of how he used conflict, how he started the war. I'm a little bit scared when I see this, because there can be like a theme of regaining lost power as well, again, inflicting more chaos with this aspect. But I do think there will be a very, very big reassessment happening in his ego as well. And whatever if he uses his power in the wrong way right now, Pluto is entering Aquarius. He is an Aquarius, so Pluto will give him like a big, big karmic bill, and it's gonna happen very soon. His sun is at the 5th degree of Aquarius. Pluto will start to conjunct that soon. So, to be exact, over the next 2 years. So, if he abuses his power, he will be destructed and will face severe crisis due to Pluto. So, I really hope he reassesses his violence and his conflict, and hopefully something changes with this important Mars retrograde over his own natal Mars. So yeah, very curious how it will play out, because as I just showed, all the big world leaders are getting greatly impacted. And I didn't include NATO's chart because NATO has a lot of planets in Aries, and they will get squared because Mars will jump over in Cancer in January. So I will include NATO's chart in January and go more over that, because then it will be time for them to reassess a big, big part in their chart. And one of the other countries I forgot to mention here is like other countries that will be very, very much highlighted during this Mars retrograde are going to be North and South Korea, as well as Taiwan, Indonesia, maybe a part of Australia, because if we look at the geodetic map, which is like shown, it's like the big world map, and all the astrological lines move all over that. The Mars line, where Mars is going to go retrograde now, runs straight through North and South Korea, closely aspecting Taiwan, running through Indonesia, and also in Australia. It's like a whole straight line. So I think in the next couple of months, these countries, and something about war or conflict of big reviewing about those nations will also be very big news that will be released in the press. So I will now start my mini readings for the 12 signs, and I will look at your Leo house where the Mars retrograde starts. And I will also look at which house is ruled by Mars, so your Aries house. And I will make a whole other video about your Cancer house in January, whenever Mars goes back into Cancer, of course. And hello, Vincent, right on time for the mini readings. So we will start with Aries, of course. And yeah, if you don't know your birth hour or your rising sign, get to know your birth hour, fill it in, and you can look at your rising sign, so you can like look at the correct predictions I'm gonna make. It's important to first listen to your rising sign. You can also, of course, listen to your sun sign, and if you want to look at it from an emotional perspective, you can look at the moon sign as well. So, my dear fellow Aries, very, very big important time for you, because Mars is your chart ruler, especially if you have an Aries rising. If you have an Aries sun, it is the planet that belongs to you. So very good news, because Mars will go retrograde in your 5th house of fun. So we have like a very big extended time period of all our 5th house themes, and 5th house is of course the Leo house, so everything revolving around children, romance, attraction, flirting, dating, children, having fun, creative talents, creative abilities will all be highlighted. And Mars rules, of course, you as an Aries. So something about your appearance can change as well during this Mars retrograde. Just be a bit careful because it might not turn out how you'd like it to be. So be mindful. Don't go very blown out there about changing anything about your physical appearance right now. Maybe wait a bit until the retrograde is over. But there will definitely be like a big change in how you like express yourself. The first house of identity. And hi, Celestial Emma. Hi, Astrid. I'm a little late and I will watch the beginning on the replay. Oh, that's so sweet. Thank you for joining, Emma. I'm so glad to see you. So Aries, yeah, Mars retro in the fifth house, big reassessment, reviewing about romantic relationships. Some will need like a change of strategy and how they attract certain males or females, of course. There can be some conflicts or reviews around children that can arise, and maybe if you have children, their temper can like flare up very high during this time. Old lovers may return to wrap things up. Very good time to rethink your creative abilities, reignite old creative projects, reignite some spark in an old lost hobby that you forgot about, and really channel your energy into maybe hobbies with your children as well, and finish something that isn't like fully born just yet, but wait to like launch it whenever the retrograde is over by the end of February. And by that time, just like focus more on the things that make you happy or make your heart sing. Perfect time for Aries to channel this Mars energy and to dance and singing, having a good time. And be careful about expressing yourself too boldly. If you do see drama revolving around you, try to respond with humor. Don't fuel the conflict. Be like, because laughing, fun, humor is also found into the fifth house. Try to, like, I know some Aries are very direct, very straightforward. This, of course, the traits of our signs. So if there is some drama revolving you, try to like look at it from a lighthearted perspective. Try to fix it with some humor, and just like try to have a good time and focus more on fun. But because Mars is your planet, keep your ego in check. Definitely starting from January. Definitely if you have some planets around the later degrees of Cancer, because it will like square you from that time on. So it's definitely going to be more intense in January for Aries. So enjoy like the last good the last good time. Oh my god, that sounds so intense. I mean, enjoy the last month of this year because it will be less intense than January. December is like time to let your foot off the brake, let loose a little bit. Don't try too hard, don't push too hard. Let everything flow in its natural order. Don't fight back if you feel stuck in your Leo themes. Take time to learn more about them, and it's maybe also a good time to like reassess or like learn how to be an entrepreneur under this energy, because the fifth house does involve these qualities. So Mars rules you, your identity, your authenticity. Take time to inject fun into that, into your identity and how you express yourself. Express it in a healthy way. And if you like, take the time to revive old projects right now, or revive or revisit old talents. You could like now take time to like fully embody and express them. And whenever Mars goes back into Leo by the end of April, then they can like fully come out, and it can be like a whole new and re-energized you. And Mars, of course, around the 3rd of January, will oppose Pluto in the 11th house of friendships and your social circles. So friends could, around that time, try to dominate you a little bit or try to take back control. Maybe some friends will not like the way you are expressing yourself during this time. And maybe if you put yourself on stage or you come in the spotlight for some kind of reason, can be a little bit of jealousy or power struggles or manipulative behavior or conflicts revolving around your friends or in your social circle. And Mars also rules your eighth house of finances, so conflicts in spending or investing money in your creative projects or on your friends or in investments can come up for review. Maybe a partner or a friend tries to take control over joint finances. It's something to be mindful about. Or maybe a friend doesn't want to help you with your creativity or your entrepreneurial activities anymore. It's part of the process. Maybe your goals, 11th house, now change, and maybe you're capable of doing it by yourself. And maybe this is like the reason why certain things can happen. So, shift in joint resources and taxes and insurance and inheritance and your trauma. And a friend can maybe trigger some old trauma now, so that you can like take the time now to heal it so it doesn't block your creativity in the future anymore. And if friends do trigger you around the beginning of January, be grateful, because they're like unconsciously trying to heal underlying issues that are revolving in your eighth house. Don't fear to lose friends. For you, you will be one of the signs where it will become very visible for you to who will fight by your side. And I know Aries are very capable of fighting for themselves. So also be mindful for which friends you will fight in the coming months and weeks. Just be a little bit aware of this dynamic, that it can really enter your life around January. But I guess you already felt some of that in the beginning of November. So if it does resonate with you, let me know in the comment down below how you've been like experiencing this type of energy, because I do feel that Aries are way more capable of handling this feisty energy than other signs. And of course, Mars will jump back into Cancer by the 6th of January. And then we will look at the fourth house where it will jump back in for you, Aries. So good luck, my dear Aries. The next one is Taurus. You have like Mars retrograde in your fourth house of family, and the first 0 to 8 degrees of Taurus will feel a Mars square towards their sun, moon, or rising. So for Taurus, this first month could feel definitely a bit more challenging than for Aries. And the fourth house is a very emotional house. It's about your family, your place of residence, the people you live with together, the mother, and things could not go as planned in all the fourth house themes. So a review of past family issues, or maybe some past conflicts regarding your upbringing. Some will have probably a flare up or a discussion with a mom or a female parental figure, or family member, or they could become a little bit irritated or frustrated by them. If you do feel that coming up, know that it's because of the Mars retro in your fourth house. And if there already been some lingering conflict in the family, there could be like an outburst. And it probably has something to do with your siblings, as Mars will go retrograde in Cancer into your third house in January. So maybe it's about cousins, nephews, siblings. Mars is also the sibling older than you. It will most likely be a male who's instigator of the fight, or someone who really embodies the Mars qualities in your family. If you don't encounter that, I'm happy for you. Maybe you're just going to revisit old family that you haven't seen for in a while. Maybe that can cause some irritation. And if you're doing construction, be mindful that it could take a bit more time. delays possible if you are rebuilding your home. And if you move too fast, that can give you some troubles. So a lot of Taurus are going to feel like they want to move to like try to escape this energy, but don't move too fast. Really take your time if you want to relocate, because if you do it too fast, you will encounter challenges. So Mars rules your 7th and your 12th house. So issues with the family make you feel uneasy in your subconscious realm. Problems about that can be brought into the partnership or vice versa. And the 12th house is retreating, very private. It's a spiritual house. So when things get too feisty with your family, you may have the feeling of wanting to be alone. It's good to then go connect to the unseen realms when things get like too emotionally challenging. And it would be very good, wise time for you, Taurus, to like reprogram family beliefs or generational curses that can be like if you do that now, it can be like very rewarding, and conflict could be resolved of that. So it will have like a positive effect on your partnership as well if you do that like in the upcoming month. It will like create ripples into if you reprogram the subconscious, it will create ripples in the in the family and in the partnership. So my advice for you is like, when family becomes like too much, just take time for yourself, retreat, relax. Don't let family wind you up during this time. It is the Mars energy. It is like showing you who's dominant and who's like the leading role in the family. There can be like too bold of expressions happening in the family. Try to not get mixed up in that, and like enjoy some time alone, listen to some frequency music to try to decrease the stress, especially around the holidays. And I know for some people, and I'm not going to say all people, but I know for some people the family holidays and family dinners can be a bit stressful. So be mindful about that, Taurus, that can like play out over the next few weeks. I do wish you a very great and very good, sweet holidays, and I hope you can like really enjoy that. And if people drink too much around the family dinner table, be mindful. Maybe stay a little bit more sober so you can like handle maybe some passive aggressive tendencies brought forth by some family members. And just keep in mind that this energy is getting played out in your chart, and that they can't help themselves because it's Mars retrograde. So I do wish you a very good New Year's Eve, and I'm wishing you the best, my dear Taurus. Then we have Gemini. Gemini has Mars retrograde in the 3rd house, and the 3rd house is communication, it's vehicles, like cars on the road, being on the road, siblings, your immediate environment, neighbors as well. And Geminis, you are one of the signs, you are the sign that is most likely will be needing to fix like a car in the next upcoming month. Also be very careful around driving. Mars is fast, Mars is connected to speed. Mars is slowing down, so try to slow down as well, otherwise you might get a ticket. Mars is also more accident prone, so be more mindful in traffic. 3rd house is also everything related to communication, so some communication can be delayed. If you work on your website or on your social media, take some more time to finish anything. It's very good to put your energy into that right now. Be mindful about how you communicate online. There can be some conflicting thoughts popping up as well. You can suffer more from like an angry mind, wanting to speak out, wanting to be heard. That can lead to more challenging communication and misunderstandings, especially with Mercury retrograde right now. So for you, it's like a big reassessment of how you speak and how you express your communication. Be more cautious about that, mindful about that, especially towards your siblings and your neighbors. And teachers as well. Old conflicts could be stirring up again with them, but also old ideas or old documents, maybe regarding to work, because Mars rules your sixth house. That can be like brought up again. If you do decide to travel or do a short-term trip, there can be a little bit upheaval or delay in that. Patience is required on the road with your brothers and sisters, in your immediate environment, with your neighbors, in the way how you communicate. So yeah, Mars rules your sixth and your 11th house. So some upheaval on the road could like interfere with your daily routine, testing your patience, careful for some road rage from within yourself and from others. Careful about miscommunication with friends or with big groups in your social environment. Maybe some friend comes to you with a conflict and you're thinking in your mind how you can help resolve that conflict. Be careful about friends messing with your mind as well. They can be like a bit of a source of stress for you, but it's already something that's been playing out since beginning of November. So maybe you already know which themes are going to be highlighted for you over the next couple of weeks. So good luck, Gemini. The next one is Cancer. You have it in your second house of income and possessions and self-worth. So Mars retrograde there can give unexpected expenses. So be careful, because Mars, a malefic going in your second house, past financial decisions can come back to bite you. Mars can give losses in the second house when it's retrograde. But if you have not been making enough money, it can also indicate a change in which lost money can come back to you as well. So it's like a big reevaluation of how you make a living. Some old ways of income need to be relooked at. And some challenge in what you value or what you want to buy, but maybe it's not possible right now. Or if you buy on an impulse to make you feel better, it could have consequences. It is like a time to spend a bit less. And if you spend too much, that can change. If you earn too less now, this can change as well. So good time to start making money again if you weren't making enough. Good time for money to come back. Just be careful about spending. Mars rules your fifth house of children and your 10th house of career. So there can be some unexpected expenses for your children, or maybe for your romantic partners, or maybe a lot of expenses on a hobby or on some creative project. Maybe 10th house conflict with the boss, and that has like some influence on your income, or maybe a kid needs more attention, and by doing that you cut back on hours on work, which result on an influence on your income. Not a good time for speculative investments, but if you have lost on speculative investments, they can like be returned now if you like didn't took the investment out. So a big review, how much you like spend together in the outside world. 10th house with your romantic partner, 5th house, and maybe you need to budget a little bit around that. Big change in your career that can like influence your money and how you express yourself, or how you like use creativity, the 5th house, into your career, 10th house, and money change attached to that. So good luck, my dear Cancers. The next one is Leo. Of course, Leo, this is like so important for you. You have like a Mars retrograde in your sign. So, of course, it's in the first house, especially if you're Leo rising. But I do want to mention, be extra careful with your body, with cuts, with bruises, with burns, because this will like put an extra emphasis on your health during this month. And Mars does go back in January into your 12th house, and the 12th house also rules hospitals. Mars is accidents. So I don't want to put that out there, and I don't want to manifest it for you, Leos. I just want you to like keep it in mind and be a little bit careful, and don't take huge risks during this time, because there can be like a change in appearance. Let's hope it's not going to be due to some bruise or a cut or a burn. And oh, Emma, you are Leo rising, and oh, Lakeside Laura, you're Leo rising too. Oh, that's so cool. I'm happy I have some Leo risings here because it's like so important for you. And also, not a good time to like cut your hair. Do not cut the manes under this influence because Mars can be a bit wild and it can give you like this feeling of I want to change something and I want to do something different. But don't cut your manes right now. Wait till Mars retrograde is over. And of course, if it's just like the points, or how do you say it in English, that's okay, but I'm just like talking about very wild changes in your appearance. It's better to wait till the Mars retro is over. So really think things through if you want to change something, because there can be like some big shift in identity, and maybe a bit of a crisis in identity could be the reason for like instigating such an intense change. Because the self-image gets like a dramatic change in the chart. So it can also just like manifest in how you express yourself. That can be like extra quite bold, but I do love the Leos and the Leo risings. You are so much fun to be around. So I think because you are so self-confident and because you do express yourself in such an authentic way, people can be a bit intimidated by that. Let's be honest. It's so, but it's like one of the main reasons why I love you so much. So if people get triggered by that, don't go into that. Don't feed that. It's their problem. It's like you trigger them to express themselves in a fully authentic way. So they actually should be grateful for the way how you express yourself. But be a bit mindful that old wounds about identity can be healed now if you use this energy in the right way. So really rethink about what makes your heart happy. Express that, but take time implementing new things. Really reassess old things right now. That's like a better energy, and take it step by step. Don't move too quickly. And Mars like rules your fourth house of family. So also for the Leo risings, the fourth house can become a bit dramatic during the holidays. But the fourth house is also your place where you live. And Mars rules your fourth house of residence and your ninth house of foreign countries, faraway places. So some Leo risings will definitely think about a foreign residence, maybe a move towards somewhere else, maybe buying an extra house in a foreign country. And also legal matters become like a focus here, because the ninth house also rules legality. So there can be some domestic changes related to legality, something in that way. But the ninth house also rules our belief system. Fourth house is our upbringing. By like expressing yourself in a very authentic way and chase something or reassess some belief systems, that can be like really shown into the family, like a whole new you during this retrograde motion. Maybe some family members are going to be a bit triggered, but that's totally okay. The family members who are going to be happy to see you fully expressing yourself in an authentic way are the ones who are fighting by your side and cheering you on. So I know there will be a lot of them as well. But definitely like a review around family issues, where you lived. Maybe you want to like revisit a place or a country that you already traveled to. That's also a possibility. Or like revisit a place you already lived. It's like about your roots and like re-exploring them. So, and for some Leo risings, like traveling in order to escape your family is also a possibility, or traveling towards your family during the holidays can also be a bit a big possibility, but like be mindful that there can be some impatience or challengings popping up around that. So your patience can be a little bit tested whenever you travel right now. But like your beliefs, ninth house around family, fourth house can change within yourself, the first house, and under you, by that you will like undergo a whole identity shift in the next few weeks. So Lakeside Laura says bullseye. And then Celestial Emma says no surprises there. I'm so happy to see that, Lakeside Laura. My sister is a Leo rising, and we cheer each other on. That's so beautiful. Wow, like I am thinking about your mother right now, Lakeside Laura, because having like two daughters as a Leo rising, that must have been wild for her. So that is so funny. A lot of fire in the family, that's for sure. So that's gonna be a very, very happy and wild family dinner on Christmas. I wish I was there. So enjoy, my dear Leos. Then we have Virgo, and oh, for Virgo, I'm very sorry. That's like less fun, less. It's actually quite hard for Virgos. I'm gonna be like real honest, and I'm a Virgo rising as well. Um, it's definitely not easy, especially yeah, for beginning Virgo risings. It's actually quite hard because Mars will be in your 12th house, and 12th house is very private, very hidden. It's about our mental health or subconscious. It's about dreams, sleeps, isolation, endings, illusions. They all fall under the 12th house. It can be very, very mystical and very dreamy, but Mars retrograde, Mars malefic in the realm of spirituality, the unseen realm, things we cannot grasp. It is less fun. So it can like point out towards inner conflicts, a bit inner unrest in your subconscious, and it like Mars there can be a very loud planet in your subconscious. It's like asking to be acknowledged, asking to be heard right now. There's like no hiding anymore with this loud planet Mars transiting in the unseen realms, 12th house. And everything that you have like repressed will erupt like a volcano right now. Can be a bit anxious, a bit overwhelming, something that you can't like fully grasp that's going on. It can result in like difficulty sleeping, into nightmares, into dreaming about fire, explosions, guns, war, conflict. Maybe you feel fear in your dreams. That is like possible right now, because yeah, Mars rules your third house of the mind, and the third house are your thinking, writing, speaking. But there can be like things you worry about right now in your mind, and everything that you worry about gets accumulated in your mind, and it could be like too much right now, and it will like result into like unrest in the subconscious in the 12th house. Could feel like you lose a bit of control over your subconscious. And fear could be like at the root of this feeling, because Mars rules your eighth house of fear. It's a very occult, very special house. Mars rules eighth house of trauma as well. So repressed traumas can like really resurface in a very loud way. And don't freak out if you feel a little bit more on edge. It is like very, very normal under these circumstances. And know that this will pass. You need like time to retreat. You need time for healing. And if you have been feeling a bit anxious, go see a therapist that does TRE exercises. It is trauma release exercises. Like a few years back, I suffered from very great conflict, and I started getting anxiety, and it got to a very, very bad point in my life, actually. And because I'm Virgo rising and I see this aspect happening now, I do understand what some Virgos or Virgo risings are like going through right now. And sometimes it is a gift. When things get too overwhelming, when things get too much, you need to learn yourself and your subconscious some kind of tools so you can like handle that for later in life. So if you do dive deep into reprogramming the subconscious, healing trauma, and go examine your motivations and why you are fear, and like what you are fearful, and like look at what's beneath the fear, because we also always have like a primary emotion, but under the primary emotion we have a second emotion, and it's mostly the second emotion that triggers everything, and it results in the primary emotion of feeling a bit afraid, a bit unrest, but under that lays a whole other layer actually that needs to be examined. And right now that would be like a very beautiful time to like dive deep into that. um, Mars is like taking extra time to review, reprogram your 12th house, which rules your aura, your subconscious, hidden trauma. It's about psychology. And be careful of being a bit at war with your inner self. There could be some big ups and downs. So it's okay if you feel like that, and let me know if you feel like that. Because I do have some tips and tricks how you can like handle this energy, and be very grateful if your body like sends you signals right now, and tell your body that it's okay, that you're there for him or for her, and that you will listen to the signs that itself sending. And by doing that, and by connecting to your inner self and what's going on in the inside, you will like automatically calm down the nervous system, because the Virgos do tend to worry a bit more than other signs. They are very strict, very analyzing, and they like putting the dots on the I. I don't know if that's a saying in English, but it's okay. They're like very self-critical, very strict on themselves. And I think this Mars retrograde in the 12th house is going to teach a lot of Virgos that it's okay to make mistakes, and that not everything needs to be perfect, and that the perfectionism tendencies are causing you to like burn out. Mars retrograde slowing down in energy. So whatever causes you a burnout needs to be reviewed right now, and needs to be like totally reworked, and you will get ample of time to do that in the upcoming weeks. So if your body is asking to calm things down, really like listen to her. And if you're already like a very evolved Virgo, and you or Virgo rising, and you already like worked a lot about on yourselves, that there still can be some tension coming back or creeping in back, asking you to fully further develop, and also take time for healing and for rest, and stay at home if your nervous system tells you to. And for the very fully developed Virgos who don't suffer from any internal unrest, really like take time to fully explore your spiritual practice. It would be good to do some fire rituals, cleansing and Epsom salt, doing breath work, meditate. Don't be scared of what's going to come up for you right now. If you look at it and if you face it, it can be let go of now during this retrograde motion. And just be careful about wanting to escape 12th house, and be careful of certain drugs or medications to like numb down the inner unrest. The inner unrest is there for a reason. It wants to be dealt with, because the 12th house also rules addictions. So Mars retrogrades is saying, yeah, time to quit, stop bad habits, it's time to release them. It's time you really like feel through the emotions. And yeah, a therapist can help you with that if you need that, and it's like no shame in admitting that sometimes it is necessary. I've went to a therapist for a very long time, and it was very fruitful, and I actually love my therapist very much. She is also a very direct Aries, And I'm very happy that she guided me towards a way more beautiful path. And she highlighted and taught me some very important things that I can now like fully embody for the rest of my life. And it can like really result for you, this Mars retrograde, and a very big breakthrough on psychological issues. So keep strong, and just know if you sometimes don't feel okay, it's okay to not feel okay. And the third house is also about learning. So if you're like totally not struggling with your mental health and you're thinking right now, like, what is Astrid saying? I'm doing totally fine. Well, congrats to you, dear Virgo. If you're doing totally fine now, that is very strong. And it's like a great idea then to do it vice versa, and to do isolate yourself, and direct like all your energy into spiritual practices and creative projects. Because Mars, if you direct your energy into something creative behind the scenes, it can prove to be of great benefit of you, since from next year in April, when Mars enters Leo again. So maybe by isolating and taking time to rethink or learn something about spiritual practices or about occult knowledge, eighth house, that can like be very beneficial. And there can be some very massive signs coming through from the spiritual realms, 12th house, or dead people, the eighth house. Eighth house is occult knowledge, astrology, tarot, all these spooky and mysterious things are found in the eighth house. So your mind, third house, is very spiritually attuned to them right now. So a very good time to do soul retrieval work, listen to frequency music, dive into hidden taboo subjects, the occult, spirituality, photography, like making videos, something connected to the 12th house, talking and learning about spiritual topics, and actually dive into them and explore them more. And if you do that by the water, or if you do something that's connected to water, that are going to be bonus points. So good luck, my dear Libras. Laura is saying, 3 Leo rising kids. You're right, my poor mother. Oh my God, Laura. 3 Leo rising kids. Well, your mother, she intuitively gave birth at the right time. So that is so funny to read. And like, oh my gosh, that must be so wild, all the family dinners. I wonder what sign your mother is. I hope she is a fire sign. If she's like a water sign, that was like very, very tough on her. So, but I am sure you both learned a lot from each other if you are different elements. So. The next one is Libra. Libra, you have your Mars retro in the 11th house of friendships. So a big review around friendships, around your goals, around your wishes, your dreams, big reassessment in your network, in your entire social circle. So group works or joint projects need to be reviewed. Maybe some projects in regards to your friends from the past may pop up during this Mars and Mercury retro. There could be some friendships a bit on rocky grounds. Could be a very testing phase for some friendships, and also be a bit careful about ego-driven conflicts in your social network. And some collaboration gets delayed or receives some kind of setback. Some old friends from the past may return back to you. You will be one of the signs that's going to be shown in a very big way, who's going to be willing to fight for you over the next few months. So reassessing aspirations, goals, projects with friends, network that can change. There can be some conflict going on in your network that has nothing to do with you as well. And there's like also a review around how you make money and how that like affects your partnerships, goals, aspirations, and dreams, because Mars does rule your second house of income and also your seventh house of partnerships. But the second house also rules like over your self-esteem. So a dispute with a friend, if that were to happen now, could leave like a bit of a strain on your self-esteem. So don't let your worth depend on what your friends are doing, saying, or thinking right now. Very important. And because Mars rules your money sector and it's like intertwined with the friends, yeah, don't be careful about mixing up friends and money and your possessions right now. And there can be like a decrease in spending money or spending money on your friends during this time. Maybe you need to like budget a little bit for some kind of reason and you can go out with your friends a lot anymore, or temporarily during this Mars retrograde, or some friend loses your money. It's also one of the possibilities. Or some, yeah, because Mars also rules your seventh house of marriage and partnerships. There's going to be a big reevaluation around close friendships, but also how friendships impact your marriage. And be mindful about friends stirring up some issues between you and a partner or vice versa. And Mars will go back to your 10th house in the beginning of January. So then there will be like a big reevaluation about your career, reputation, long-term goals, and maybe something changes in that because of a friend or because of a partner, or some change in reputation is connected to a social circle where like underlying issue can be surfaced during this time. But also some conflict with a friend can like impact marriage and your income, vice versa. So be a bit mindful about that. But overall, you are a Libra. Mars right now in the next month will make a sextile to your sun, moon, or rising. So overall, I don't think it will be very intensely severe for you, Libras. The more difficult part for you will start in January when Mars will re-enter Cancer. That's going to be a bit of a different story. So good luck, Libras. The next one are my dear Scorpios, and Mars is your chart ruler, so very big impact for the Scorpio. And be very, very careful, Scorpios, because Mars is going to retrograde over you, MC, over the top of the chart, very visible for the world. Be very mindful, and in the first month it will not be so easy because Mars will first make a square to your sun, moon, or rising, so that does indicate a bit of a challenge. Be mindful of how you express yourself, about your ego conflicts, because Pluto now starts to square your sun, moon, and rising, and Mars is squaring your sun, moon, and rising right now. So a bit of a treacherous energy for the Scorpios right now. And Celestial Emma says, my hubby is a late degrees Scorpio. Okay, so that's good, because if he were to be like a first degree of Scorpios, like say from 0 to 8 degrees of Scorpio, actually even 10, 0 to 10 degrees of Scorpio, they are going to receive like this Mars retrograde square right onto their sun. Their ego is going to be manifested in a negative way, and Pluto is also squaring their sun, moon, or rising in the first 4 degrees next year. So yes, this is very combative and very irritating, and wanting to show off and show who you are and gain control kind of energy. But Celestial Emma, because your hubby is a late degree Scorpio, he doesn't get as much affected by this, because it will only be when Mars, and I think that will be beginning middle May, or end of May, then he will receive a square to his sun, to his rising, sorry, Emma. So that's like totally different energy. So the first degrees of Scorpio, they need to like fully brace themselves. Yes, so Mars is also ruler of their first house. It's the chart ruler. It's like very big emphasis on drive, action, moving forward, your body, your appearance. And it also rules like your sixth house, and your sixth house is daily routine, health and well-being, job duties, your pets, but it will retrograde in your 10th house of career, and career, reputation, self-employment, people and authority, who you are in the world will get like a very big review in the upcoming weeks. I'm gonna say, Scorpio, the first month is gonna be more difficult. But actually it will stay difficult. I'm gonna be like totally honest, because the Mars Pluto opposition that we're gonna having to deal with in the beginning of January will massively impact you. So be a bit careful about people in authority, and if you have a boss, if you are a boss yourself, be very mindful about how you express yourself in those areas, because there can be like a very big course correction in that. It is the top of the chart, so everything you do, say, and I'm gonna say even think, is gonna be like massively it's going to get public in some kind of way. So you need to be mindful about maybe you'll feel less strength, you feel less energy, less ambition in the 10th house areas, because Mars too tends to reframe that area whenever it goes retrograde. So Mars is also a bit of aggression, frustration, irritation. It's going to be mixed into your career, and like disputes in your career can like negatively affect your reputation right now. So it's not an excellent time to like compete to win, or anything competitive right now, because I do know Scorpios or Scorpio risings do tend to be a little bit intense, and when we have a Mars Pluto position, that energy just gets like amplified. So also for the Scorpios, not a good time for teamwork and like sharing everything, unless you are in charge. And if you are in charge, be careful of being a bit bossy. And arguments and conflicts are likely if you have to like take some orders, or you have to like share the spoils of victory right now. So if you do work together with someone and you do need to share some money or some clients or some other things, Scorpios can feel a big need to regain control now because of this Mars that is happening there. And I know Scorpios right now can feel like threatened by other strong people coming onto them. And some people might really look at Scorpios right now that they're a little bit bossy or a little bit selfish, but it's because of this Mars Martian energy on top of the EC, wanting to be the boss, wanting to be the best, not wanting to share. And maybe for some Scorpios, that is actually a good way of handling things. Maybe they are destined to be the boss and not destined to share anything. So that is actually quite all right if you feel that energy. Just be mindful of how you like communicate that towards others. Because, yeah, if you have a boss, then they can be like way more bossy to you right now. But if you are the boss, you can like amplified energy having in that right now. So, and if you have a boss that's being bossy to you, you will not be able to take it right now. And a lot of Scorpios might consider to like a change in direction. And if parents, if you see your parents during the holidays, they can behave a bit more dominant as well during this time. And a lot of irritation is going to get like played out in regards to authority figures over the next month. And think about people who are stronger than you or have something to say over you. Think about police as well. It's also something to be mindful of. And an old job or an old boss may cross your path again. And something from the past can catch up again. It can be like an old job or a conflict from the past that will affect your reputation now, or a delay that impacts your long-term goals, or maybe you need to revisit old career opportunities, because I think they will naturally present themselves. Either way, Mars retrograde will impact your reputation and who you are in the outside world. And this can be a good or a bad thing, depending on how you acted in that area in the past. Because it's like reviewing the past right now. So if you handle things well, you can be more seen, more visible, or you could end up in the spotlight for some kind of reason. That could be very, very positive. Anyway, there will be like a change in how other people see you. And because of that, your professional relationships will change. And also your professional relationships with people will change. And how that manifests depends on your previous actions. So if you do feel that like your career progress is slowing down, don't fight over that. If you feel that's happening, remember that Mars is a malefic, so be very careful about damaging your reputation. Be careful about damaging professional relationships, because your actions at work will either help you move direction or damage some professional bonds, and that could like hinder your progress in the future. So you really need to like act in a very diplomatic way in everything that is related to your career and your reputation right now. And because yeah, it's like very much amplified for the Scorpios, because it's in the 10th house of career and reputation, and in the 6th house. And the 6th house is also your job duties, your service to others, your health and well-being. So if something happens in your career, it could like negatively impact your health. It could be very stressful. It's the house of stress, the 6th house. So yeah, conflicts with people and authority could prove to be a bit stressful in the next month actually. But the good news is that you get like an extended period of time to like figure out some things in your career area. So very good time to like put some structures, reassess, correct mistakes, add more things in your business that can be beneficial in the long term. But not a good time to now go launch something new, or like impulsively change job. Wait until the retrograde is over. You will have like a clearer mind by then, and the spring will give you more answers to the changes you want to be making. Because yeah, Mars in opposition to Pluto on your MC-EC axis, a very important part in the chart. Changes in your career will affect your home and vice versa. And these are going to be some dramatic changes, I'm not going to lie. And also because Mars rules the 6th house, take extra care of your pets during this time. And then in January, Mars will go back to your 9th house. It will then make a flowing trine aspect to your sun, moon, and rising. So then it's like more about reviewing your purpose and your future vision. That will be more positive for you. So, but more on that later. So good luck, my dear Scorpios. And Celestial Emma says, this Scorpio sounds fascinating and reviewing all jobs. Yes, definitely. And Laura says, great advice. Thank you very much, Laura. So the next ones are Sagittarius, and it's like happening in your 9th house. And the 9th house is the traditional Sag house. So I think for Sagittarius, it will be very impactful, because it's like your the natural 9th house, which belongs to Sag. So the 9th house is about future vision, beliefs, travel, education. It's about higher knowledge. And yeah, you're naturally very, very in tune with your 9th house. So yeah, I think you will feel this very, very strongly. It's about rethinking your limiting beliefs, adding some course correction in your future vision, conflicts about the future, maybe with a romantic lover, because it rules your 5th house of romance. If you travel with a partner, it can be a little bit irritating. Travel belongs to the 9th house. There can be some rescheduling. That's possible. delays or changes in travel can be the reason why some of the frustration pops up between you and your romantic attraction if you were to travel together. And all ways of travel can prove to be a bit hindering. Think about cars, trains, planes. You will need to be patient with that, or your patience will get tested, especially with long distance travel because it's in the ninth house of long distance travel. And if you do decide to travel, maybe you can go back to places that you've already been before, Mars retro, reassessing things from the past. Because if you are gonna visit places that you've already been before, it's gonna like lessen the influence from this transit. And yeah, if you've already been there before, it's gonna be like less disruptive or less delays, less frustration. New places can add to the frustration right now. So if you do decide to travel, just go somewhere where you've already been before. Um, and for the sages who are currently involved in legal battles, because yeah, ninth house legality, Mars battles. Leo, the sign of children, can be about that as well. Don't fight over something right now that needs to go to court because court cases will get delayed. It will not prove to be of value right now. It never proves of value. Don't get me wrong, but if you like do that right now, it can cause some major irritation. The ninth house is also about teachers, old mentors, or people that provided some type of guidance can come back now. Be careful about having ego conflicts with them, and be sure they are here to like re-motivate you, reteach you, reignite some kind of spark in your future vision right now. Some old courses or classes from the past can also be reviewed because the ninth house is also about learning, teaching. It's also the house of philosophy. So, review of limiting beliefs, rethinking about futuristic goals. Maybe you could feel a bit stuck in that area, or maybe something slowed down around that. And some conflicts over your beliefs with a romantic partner are possible as well right now. Maybe or maybe your futuristic visions doesn't fully align anymore right now. Could be like a possible interruption because of that. But don't get attracted to conflicts about different belief systems with your partner or with your romantic lover. Like try to be mindful about that and try to release the stress revolving that, because it could be like very heavy on the subconscious because Mars also rules your 12th house. So spiritual beliefs are changing, are getting reviewed. If you purge some subconscious issues, that could be very beneficial and retransform limiting beliefs in the ninth house. But because Mars also rules your fifth house of children, it's like a good time to learn a new class behind the scenes, 12th house about spirituality, philosophy, ninth house or something that reignites your creative talents, fifth house. Be creative, play some music, learn how to play an instrument, to channel this hot burnt energy into something meaningful, into something creative. And if you do revise some things about your beliefs, that will like really affect your subconscious and vice versa. So really learn new spiritual things, of learn something new in that area that can like positively affect how you connect with your kids. Maybe if you purge some subconscious issues, that will create a ripple effect into your house of children, and that can be very beneficial for them and for the bloodline that's growing up right now. And maybe some conflicts with children can push you to like examine or re-examine some beliefs and some subconscious issues that impact your bond with them as well. So it could also be like if reviewing classes or courses for or from your children and help them evolve in their creative talents. And court cases about kids will be late, it's about custody, child support, can be all very frustrating right now. So really use this time to like finish an maybe a writing project or something that you, or complete a course all related to the ninth house, or finish something up that needs to be released in spring. That would be the best use of this energy and of this time for you right now. So really go back to old projects that need to be wrapped up and review how you can inject more fun into your future and into your futuristic goals, because I know you really need that right now, Sagittarius, and I know it's been a bit of a testing time with the Mercury retrograde in your sign, with the new moon in your sign square to Saturn. There's some delays, there's some coldness going on in the family or with your emotions. So yeah, I know it's not such an easy time for the Sagittarius. So I hope you can make the best use of this time to like really reignite some spark in your belief system. I am wishing you the best, my dear Sagittarius. And White Wing says, hi everyone, first timer here. I'm so glad you're joining. I'm wondering what is your sign, and I hope you're doing great tonight. The next sign is Capricorn. Hi, Capricorns. You have the Mars retro in your 8th house, and the 8th house is a little bit of murky territory, but luckily for you, Mars likes to be here. The 8th house is about joint finances, taxes, insurance, inheritance, investments, deep psychological issues, trauma, fears, debonding, merging, sexuality, healing, death, rebirth, transformation. It is a special house, the 8th house. So there can be very big, intense, transformative period. Can feel quite emotionally intense. And fears around money can be pop up to be transformed right now, because Mars is quick. The 8th house is money, the 8th house is fears, and Mars in the 8th house natally. So if you have it in your natal chart, it can point towards losing money through others. So if you are born with natal 8th house Mars, be very careful for that. Time and time and again, I've like seen it playing out with my clients in their chart. If they like contact me for a personal reading, I can see them losing money through others with Mars in the 8th house. So I think for some Capricorns, this will be like a theme that's going to play out over the next couple of weeks. So be very careful. Be careful about investments, definitely speculative investments, because that's ruled by Leo. Be careful about lending money to a spouse. Be careful about lending money to friends, because Mars rules your 11th house. Be careful about some conflicts around money in the family. Mars also rules your 4th house. So yeah, be careful about lending, spending too much. If somebody owes you money, it can come back because Mars goes retrograde. But be very careful about like financial conflicts with people. And this can be about like inheritance, taxes, real estate, insurance. All these things can be a bit delayed. And the Pluto-Mars opposition can be about power struggles over money or over shared resources, possessions, and you join finances together with a partner or with a friend, because it also rules the 11th house of friends. So it's a little bit difficult to see here right now. But fantastic time to like look deep within at some very deep buried fears that can like resurface around money, or also around other things, and like it's a good time to heal them quickly. A good time to like dig deep with a therapist that can be like give like amazing results right now. So if you heal some traumas quickly under this transit, it can like very positively impact your money issues as well, because these two are intertwined here for you. And Mars rules your 11th house of networking, groups of people and your friends, your goals, wishes, and dreams. And it rules your 4th house of family, home, and people that you live with together. So maybe a friend stops by and tells you about some financial issues that they're dealing with, or vice versa. Be careful about lending to your friends. Be careful about power struggles popping up because of that. And there can be some issues about inheritance and real estate within the family, maybe something that needs to be reassessed or reevaluated. But if it's not about that, it can also be about having to deal with trauma resurfacing in the eighth house, having to do with your family or with your upbringing, the fourth house. You can resolve that right now. And Mars will, of course, also go retrograde back into your seventh house starting from January the 6th. So yeah, these issues could be brought in the marriage and affected. Issues from the family, resolving around money, maybe something to do with real estate can negatively impact the partnership. So be careful not to start any conflicts or to not fight over that with your spouse. Really be mindful and really support each other in the more difficult times that could pop up related to these issues. And yeah, it could also be like I said, like settling or figuring out some issues related to the way you live, to your residence, to your property, maybe who spends how much and who works or puts in money for the family, and how much, and balance things out. Maybe something needs to be equally splitted about an inheritance, about taxes, insurance, or maybe a divide of a property equally when you sell it. Or maybe the Mars retro in the seventh house can mean like a split up, and then you need to sell the house and divide everything. That is a possibility. I just hope that does not happen. It can also be about an inheritance from the family that you need to equally divide. So there are different possibilities here. Maybe some of you will need to go to the bank and ask maybe for a loan, and create some debt for redecorating or renovating around the home. Be careful of going into too much debt right now. You could have possibly the payment plan will get delayed. You will struggle maybe more about repaying everything. Be a bit more mindful about that. And you maybe have to review and correct things regarding to a mortgage as well. It's all about shared finances during this retrograde. So there's a very big wide theme that's going on here. The very good news is, of course, that Pluto has left your sign. Otherwise, things would have been way worse for you. So try to think of that whenever things get a bit more intense over the next few weeks. Pluto is out of Capricorn, so time to party. It will all be fine, and I'm wishing you the best. And hi, Ponipa. Nice to see you again today. And hi, Becca. I'm so glad you're here. And Becca says retrograde tricks are all happening. Yes, that's right. But we know what's going on. We reclaim our inner authority and we will defend with great strength. So let's get it. I know that we are all very big peace warriors. So I'm sending love to each and every one of you. And the next sign is Aquarius. Aquarius, you have the Mars retrograde in your seventh house of partnerships. So yeah, it's I'm gonna mention it in the beginning for you Aquariuses. This is gonna be a bit murky territory because Mars in the house of in the seventh house of partnerships, of one-on-one relationships. Pluto just entered your sign. The Pluto-Mars opposition that we're going to deal with on the 3rd of January will hugely impact you. So yeah, there can be some frustration building up in your close one-on-one relationships, in your partnerships, in your marriage, in your business partnerships. And this retrograde has the potential to turn close one-on-one bonds into full-on enemies. I'm not gonna lie, the seventh house is open enemies. And yeah, with Pluto in your sign, they can be very, very intimidated by Pluto shifting in your sign. It can also point towards like old conflicts in your marriage may resurface, highlighting like the conflictive power dynamics with close bonds. It can be a very testing time for personal relationships, but things that are not brought up will definitely brought up right now, and they can be talked about, and hopefully they can get fixed right now. Just be a little bit mindful about ego conflicts with them. Mars is very quick, so tests could come up very quickly. Patience is needed to handle these issues. Mars can get quite quickly frustrated, but also calms down quickly. So there can be some up and forth between issues brought up and things calming down again, and like being in a bit of a roller coaster because of that. Because I do predict some fights will come up under this influence. So try to handle them with care and remember that it's Mars retrograde and things will pass. Don't fight over things that are not worth it, especially not with your partner, because the energy of like wanting victory is very, very present now. And Mars rules your third house of communication, so fighting with words is a big possibility right now. And if you don't have a boy or a girlfriend, it will manifest in other close relationships. And it could also bring up some old lovers from the past back into your life because it's in the seventh house of romance or long-term commitment. And Mars also rules your 10th house of career, public image, people in authority. So if you fight with your partner now, things can become quite public. And I think you will have like the urge to like fight anyone who tries to stand above you, because you now have like Pluto in your sign. It's like giving you this very, very big dominant force of energy, and if someone is going to try to stand above that, that's like not going to work anymore. So Aquarius can feel like a very big shift in identity happening since Pluto is now forever and forever for the next 20 years. Oh my god, that was so dramatic. For the next 20 years Pluto will be in your sign. So with the Pluto Mars opposition, it's like some fights with open enemies can impact your reputation, and bosses can be like a very big pain in the ass and can be very dominant during this time because they're like a little bit triggered about you having like a surge in power due to Pluto entering your sign. You will be impacted greatly by power struggles because it's a very sensitive point in the chart right now, and that's going to happen especially in January and April for you, Aquarius. So be a bit mindful of having Pluto in your sign. Don't act in a controlling way because it will create open enemies. It's very good for defending yourself. If someone attacks you with Mars in the seventh house, you will have like the upper hand in conflicts. But be mindful about using your power in a healthy way. Otherwise, Pluto can be very, very destructive. So Mars ruling your third house of communication in general, fights, frustrations can manifest in the area of your immediate environment, neighbors, siblings, technological devices, social media, short-term trips, being on the road, cars. Patience is required. And this retrograde is impacting all of your angular houses. So these represent like a very big change. And some frustration can pop up in all these houses. So be very mindful about everyone that is gonna react towards Pluto in your sign. And some conflicts may arise due to your increase in personal powers, and people are gonna be struggling with that. So don't use your increased power to dominate others because they already sense it very strongly. They sense a change in dynamic with you, and they can become more frustrated or more combative with you because of that. Anyway, this will transform you deeply. This is the retrograde. If a crisis occurs, just know Pluto is doing its work, and it ultimately wants to like heal you in the end. So he can do that by taking away some closer relationships because it can speed up the healing process. So if that happens, I know that can be painful, but try to be grateful as this is like a very big transformation, very big rebirth that is happening for you, especially if you're like an early degree of Aquarius, then you will feel it very, very immensely. So good luck, my dear Aquariuses. And the last one is Pisces. My dear Pisces, you have the Mars retrograde in your sixth house of daily routines, health, job duties, pets, habits, your productivity, yeah, your well-being, yeah, your service towards others. And be extra mindful of your health, Pisces. And I have been saying it a few times, but it's super, super important for you, my dear Pisces, because Mars retro can give some inflammation, some digestive issues. Be mindful about cuts, burns, bruises in your daily routine. Be careful about extra work resulting in a burnout. Don't overdo it right now. And some Pisces will definitely want to change their job because they will feel a bit frustrated or irritated with their job. And disputes with colleagues are definitely possible. Colleagues fall into the sixth house, so they can be a bit more combative than normal. So, if you feel less productive and Mars, your productivity decreases, goes retrograde, it is natural, don't fight it. If you're gonna fight it, if you're not gonna listen to your body, it can result in some health scares. And these health scares can also cause you to change your job. Or if you overdo it, old health issues can pop up back, can pop up back. So take extra care. Go back to old treatments if some old issues resurface, and if you sprain or bruise or cut yourself, it can cause inflammation more quickly than during other times. So also for Pisces, but actually for every zodiac sign in general, not the best time to get surgery. But of course, I'm also talking about elective surgery. If you do need to have surgery, of course, but try to like not to have surgery during this time, because it might take longer to heal under this retrograde. And if you feel like frustrated in your job duties, this can come like out or manifest as burning or spraining yourself, or like hurting or bumping into something. Be extra careful of your head. Mars rules the head, but it's of course in the sign of Leo. The sign of Leo rules the heart, the back, and the shoulders, the upper back. And Mars will find a way to like come out or like to manifest. So if you do feel frustration and it's building like up in your job area, you need like a physical way of getting that energy to like come out or channel out, like go running, go to the gym, do some physical activity to lessen its influence on your health. But if you're already like on the break of a burnout, don't go to the gym. It's like um I know it's very wise to like get another stressor. If you have a mental stressor from work, it's very good and physically healthy to change that to like a physical stressor. But if you're already very worn out, you need to like retreat, to do some Pisces things, retreat into your spirituality. Don't go for a burnout. It's time to like heal and retreat and regain strength. So also take extra care of your pets, because it's located into the sixth house of your pets. They also fall under that house. And Mars rules your second and your ninth house. So your ninth house, it can be like because you're fed up with work, you want to go travel, ninth house, you spend money on that second house. And maybe with Mars in the sixth house, you really need like a very long vacation and some time off of work. And I can totally agree with that. So or maybe you will like to take some time off to learn something new, ninth house, that can be implemented into your job later on. Maybe you're trying to work too much to make a change in your income, but be careful about not overdoing things. A lot of you will feel burdened or dismotivated, and you will need to work less. That can maybe be an impact on your financial house as well. And that can then have a reaction on your self-esteem, because the second house is connected, money and self-esteem are connected. But be very careful for overdoing it in the sixth house of your work, because that could like result in a loss of income due to sickness. So, and then you will be like forced to spend extra money on your health. So a perfect way to like lessen this energy is to like proactively spend more money on increasing your health and your well-being during this time. Invest into yourself, invest into your self-esteem, increase it. It will like save you money in the long term whenever Mars goes into your sixth house again in the late spring. And yeah, I already mentioned in a few other videos that I did for the Pisces that it's very, very necessary to take extra care of your health. We have an upcoming eclipse in the sign of Virgo, your opposite sign, and then we'll have another eclipse in Pisces in your sign. Saturn is still putting a damper on your sign, and it's like refraining everything in relation to your body, especially if you're like a Pisces rising. You can like really suffer from your joints and your back, and like yeah, it can manifest a bit extra. So take extra precautions towards like balancing out your mental and your physical health as well. Pluto in the 12th, we're gonna have a Pluto Mars opposition in the beginning of January. So Pluto in the 12th can mean like a crisis or a transformation taking place in the area of the hospital, 12th house. I'm not saying all Pisces will end up in the hospitals. I'm just saying that there is energy present here that can trigger that. So be mindful about that. Be mindful of yourself. Take extra care about yourself, about your pets. And in January, luckily, Mars, after we have the very intense Mars-Pluto opposition in the beginning of January, after that, Mars will start to trine your sun, moon, or rising, and I guess things will get a bit easier then, but still Saturn remains there, so it's a bit back and forth. So good luck, my dear Pisces. I hope you stay healthy. So, Lakeside Laura says, thank you for a very informative reading. It is with much pleasure. It was, I think Mars retrograde is very, very important. Big war reassessment, big reviewing about how we handle conflicts, what drives us, what makes us ambitious, and I think we can like really reignite that spark whenever Mars goes back direct by the end of February. Don't fight, don't don't feed the resistance towards some causes, and like really enjoy this energy and really use it to your advantage now that you know how things are working. So I hope that you've gained some wider and bigger perspective about it, and I hope you can like all handle this Mars retrograde in a very healthy, proactive way. So Becca says, I always learn so much listening. Awesome insights, Astrid. Thank you so much, Becca. That is so sweet of you to say that. And I'm very, very happy that you were all here with me tonight. And I'm wishing you the best. And this will probably be one of my last videos. I don't know if I will have more time to give another video, because I will leave soon and I will take a break and I will listen to the Mars retrograde and like calm down. My productivity is decreasing as well, so I will just listen to that and take a long vacation, and I will be back to you in the middle of January. So I wish you all a very happy holidays. Maybe I will do the full moon in Gemini, but I don't know if I will have time for that. But either way, if I don't see you again for the rest of the year, then I will wish you all happy holidays and a very fantastic New Year's Eve. And I will be back in January. So sending so much love, so much gratitude, all your way. And I'm wishing you all the best and have a very, very lovely morning, day, or evening, depending on where you are in the world. So thank you so much. Bye bye.